What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new edition of Wrestle Update. I'm your host, Dylan Fox. This is a special episode because once again, we got to go back to back. We got two shows to talk about. We got 2 nights in a row. And of course, it's GCW bringing us again another festival with Homecoming. And to do that, I have to go to my go-to guy, my truest friend, an amazing human being, and someone who is extremely knowledgeable on both GCW and wrestling as a whole. Nello de Angelis. It's good to talk to you again, my friend.
Good to talk. It's been a minute. How's life?
Yeah, it's been a whole day since we were here talking about the Forbidden Door. We opened the door, and we had a lot to say about that show. And just as promised, we were not going to let it slide. We were not going to disappoint the people. We got to talk about GCW Homecoming. So we are coming off of last week's episode where GCW had an interpromotional battle against JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And we came in back to Atlantic City, one of the real stomping grounds of the company. But how are you feeling going into the show? Going into Homecoming, it's like basically arguably their biggest weekend every year, outside of maybe the WrestleMania weekend sometimes, or if they go to Hammerstein. How are you feeling going into Homecoming? What was your kind of vibe going into the shows?
My favorite GCW is when they're doing deathmatch oriented shows. Whether that's a tournament like TOS or NGI, or just shows like Homecoming, like anything that's typically in Atlantic City, you're going to get death matches at the forefront, which I really appreciate because since I started watching GCW 2015, first ever Nick Gage Invitational, that's been the core of, what I've really loved about them. I think when it's just the pure wrestling, it turns into sort of regular indie in the sense of I can kind of get this in most places, Yes, they have a bunch of really cool characters and stuff that sort of creates a variety, but I definitely am a bloodthirsty sicko when it comes to GCW, which is to say that there were a lot of death matches on this card. Return of John Wayne Murdoch, Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko, who I'm really loving, 2 up-and-coming guys. Masashi Takeda coming across from Japan, and then you also have Matt Tremont and probably the biggest rising star in deathmatch wrestling right now, Bear Bronson. So everything was just set up this weekend, and I was really hyped. What about you? Did you have any feelings going in, or were you like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this?
I always end up liking these shows more than I feel like I will going into them, to be honest. I knew this stuff was on the card. I thought they had some interesting matches. I wanted to see more Bear in the deathmatch scene as well. I really liked KJ Orso, his work since he's dropped the Fuego gimmick. I like his work more leading into, character work and heelish type of stuff and stuff like that. Takeda is somebody I'm super familiar with, so I did think it was a pretty good card. I didn't notice it. Honestly, I didn't know this match was going to happen, but when it happened, I did pop. When Ultramantis Black was on the show, I went through like a mind trip. A little bit, I think. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Type of deal. And I know he's around. He had a title match last month. But I'm always like, dude, I watched this guy 20 years ago. Almost.
Yeah. Were you transported back to the Alhambra Sports Center Arena or whatever, the fucking Chikara Phillies place?
Now, I will say this. What is your level of knowledge of Chikara?
Minimal.
Yeah. I didn't like Chikara, to be honest. I didn't like the whole vibe of it. For many reasons we don't have to get into. Right? That could be a whole show in and of itself. But regardless, I did respect some of the workers they had, and it's crazy how that company existed. And 15 years ago was a major indie. It wasn't like maybe Ring of Honor level, but it was like a step below. You know, there was a time where it was arguably the fourth or fifth biggest company in America. But all of those wrestlers outside of like Orange Cassidy, pretty much, are all gone. Like nobody made it from there, like any further. And half of them I didn't even know where the hell they were. And a couple of them were even guys I liked, like Hallowicked, I thought was an incredible worker. But he barely ever pops up anywhere outside of the random GCW Battle Royal shows. Or when he was on last time, I was like, holy shit, that's Hallowicked. What's he doing in here? And so seeing a guy who was really one of the integral characters to that whole era in Ultramantis Black, I did get a little nostalgic, even though I never was a fan. I was kind of a super hater, to be honest, for back when it happened. But it just reminded me of a different era, and I'm always a fan of that. As well as knowing the fact that Dr. Redacted, free from suspension, apparently, how they explained him not being on the Juggalo show. 1 week later, doing his thing, but yeah, we started off in Atlantic City, and the first thing we saw was a video showing like the legacy of the company, pretty much. And I thought it was a really good video. Like it made it feel like a historical moment to be here at Homecoming again.
Dude, as someone that's seen the majority of like I've watched the majority of shows from every year of GCW. They did a great fucking job at pretty much capturing all of the big moments. And what I really appreciated too is that they still featured guys like Alex Colon who aren't with the company anymore because of supposedly bad blood. They still featured them very prominently in their roles and the things that they gave to this company. I really appreciated that because I think that still shows a, you know, you're not going to get weighed down by petty drama bullshit, you know?
Yeah, that's how it should be in a lot of ways, in my opinion. And they had a lot of the stars too in there. They had like Jericho when he was at GCW was there. And it was really focused a lot on Matt Cardona when he came in, which was a very memorable angle.
Yep.
When he impersonated John Moxley, and when he took that mask off and revealed it was him, everybody went nuts for it. Then we got checked in the show by Emil J. and Brett Lauderdale in here on commentary. And we started off with Shotzi coming out there. And then Matt Cardona comes in with a DeLorean and the Marty McFly look here. Why? Like, is there some reference to this that I missed? Mr. GCW can help me with this.
What was it?
When Cardona came out in the DeLorean and the
dude, because he's a geek.
Yeah, okay. I was like, why is he dressed up like Marty McFly here?
Because he's a geek. He did the Ghostbusters entrance. He's done Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're man. Right.
Yeah, well, it's okay. There's a certain charm to that, I suppose, here. So, he comes in there. Cardona smashed a chair at Shotzi right away. She was doing some stuff coming in there. They had these, like, green light tubes at one point. Cardona spit some beer in her face. And then there was a bunch of light tube stuff going in there. There was somebody else that was dressed like Marty McFly. Who was this? Like, was I supposed to know who this was?
I don't know.
Yeah, because I was like, who's this guy? He came in with like a hoverboard with barbed wire on it.
Yeah, I wanted to text you and just be like, dude, how crazy is it that we're starting off this show with a death match between Shotzi Blackheart and Matt Cardona?
Yeah, I mean, that was a choice. I will say this. But considering what happened, it was an interesting... Even then, that was kind of an interesting idea. So, they go for with the door thing they have there. She ended up coming back with, like, sliced bread number 2. And then, right when it looked like she was about to have the advantage, Mance Warner comes into the ring. drops him with a steel chair, and then Jimmy Lloyd runs out for the save. Remember, we did the show where he had the turn on Cardona. So he comes in to make the save. They brawl out to the back. Then we we heard that Nick Gage, his music played, and instead Tommy Invincible came out here. And he ended up hitting a stunner on Shotzi, and him and Cardona were celebrating like they won the Super Bowl. But then Nick Gage's real music came out, and then the real Nick Gage came out. He leapt through the fans. They were all hugging him, but it was like a family affair. What did you think of this return for Gage?
Man, fucking awesome. Nick Gage is, he's the Hangman Page at GCW. He is the beating heart and soul of the company, as much as, a lot of other people like Tremont and Janela, etc., are as well. There's a reason why Gage is the only person that's ever been signed to a GCW contract, and it's a lifetime one at that. This dude was the ultimate champion for this company. He bled fucking buckets, and it makes me very happy to see him back. Lots of rumors going on. I don't want to get into them about what happened between him and Brett and why he left GCW, but it seems like in the off time from GCW, he's been putting in work at a lot of different companies, CZW, Battleground, Circle 6, other places as well. And he is looked great when he came out as well too. Looked really good physically. And man, I wish nothing but the best for Nick.
The crowd gave him a hero's welcome. Did you like that they did the fake return first?
I thought it was so fucked up when Tommy came out, and I was like, oh man, that's actually really fucked up to use Nick as the return, but it makes sense, it really does make sense, but damn, that's just brutal. And then
the real return happened.
Yep, and then that happened, so
yeah, I just thought it was interesting to immediately I think it would have been better if he had came out later in the show. To be honest, it would have been a bigger surprise because then as soon as they played the music, they knew they weren't going to do a double swerve. They weren't going to fuck you over twice in a row. Here, but still, it felt like a big moment. Brett shouted, "He's home!" on commentary when he came out there. So he came in, ran roughshot. He ended up dropping him with the green light tubes, and then he pulled out the pizza cutter, and he did this night ceremony almost, and handed the cutter to Shotzi there. So he was bleeding everywhere after that. That was sick. I do have to say. So then Gage brawled with Tommy, and she got more light tubes, bashed Cardona. Shotzi hit the unprettier for a near fall, but the ref wasn't there, so it was a no fall, really. He ended up hitting the Rough Rider, radio silence there, and then he dropped the referee for whatever reason. So then some guys came out with red hoods, and Shotzi fought everybody off until finally two of them got down, Killer Cross. Low blows Matt. Killer Cross slams him through the door. Shotzi hits the senton bomb for the pin. So Cross and Scarlett in GCW. What'd you think of the match? What'd you think of Since there was a lot of moving parts here with Gage return and then Killer Cross and Scarlett coming in here.
Before we jump into this, after seeing this, and he's been announced for a few other shows now, what do you think is Killer Cross's contract status with the WWE? Do you think it's a work? Do you think it's a shoot?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's got a lot of people talking. I know he put out some videos on his YouTube page. If anything else, I think it's really getting people talking about him. I don't think this was some kind of secret. Let me put it this way. I don't think this was some kind of secret Triple H plan. Overall, if this is a work, he is the one that came up with it, and they're just letting him run wild, pretty much. because they didn't really have that much to do with him anyway. I still don't really see him as like a guy they put that level of focus and care in that they would go that far with. But it's, he's gotten hype on himself. Like, you can't deny that. I'm really not a fan of his. I do have to say. We reviewed his match at SummerSlam with Sammy, and it wasn't that good. I do have to say. But hopefully he can make something of himself here. I think Scarlett's a great character, to be honest, to have. And I think going back to more of her, what she was doing before she was with Cross, when she was just on her own, I think could get some hype and really fits GCW well. I don't need druids or any of that bullshit, to be honest. Like, if he could just be a straightforward kind of guy, I think I would like that better than, like, kind of how he was on, remember when he was on Bloodsport? When we watched it? And he was kind of like the face of the company. And he was still under contract then, so I don't see why that would be a big effect to this, more so.
I think the first thing you do is at the next Bloodsport, if you really want to get behind this guy, you have him beat Barnett at the next Bloodsport, and you kind of have Cross become the new main event attraction to your Bloodsports. Because I think in pro wrestling, that Cross is bigger than a Barnett. Barnett's, to me, the cooler guy, but in terms of scope and reach, I think that for the casual fan, Cross is going to be the one to sell more tickets.
Me too.
I'm not a big Cross guy either. I thought it was cool because I know like Shotzi and Scarlett and them are really, really fucking good friends. So this has to be a good feeling, and it's exciting to see what these people are doing next. I, appreciate that this guy cares and loves wrestling clearly. Because he's not just sitting at home.
Yeah.
He's very active in terms of his bookings and the things that he's doing now. So it's really just going to be about, okay, what can this guy do? And was he limited by the WWE? We say that he's boring as shit, but was he ever told he could do anything else? I don't know. We'll see if he's sweeter than a Saito. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say this. I've watched him since the AAA days. Like, you could go back to our old Lucha Talks from 2017, and I wasn't a fan of his then either, like, to be honest. He had to run in TNA. He had to run in NXT. So it's like he's done stuff, but he's just not somebody that's really that explosive to me. But I do praise him. Like you said, he's clearly got a heart for wrestling, and he seems like a pretty decent guy. Like, I don't have anything personally against him at all. Like, he seems like a pretty cool guy. And I think they make a good package together, him and Scarlett. But we'll see what they do. I like your idea of him going over Barnett. I agree with what you said about his name value, and I think he's only going to keep growing buzz for himself in this run, regardless of whether it ends in a WWE return or not. I think he knows how to make that work, even though his matches weren't anything to write home about, really. Overall, really ever in his career. But he's always found a way to find himself near the top of the card wherever he goes, and I think that it'll be the same here too. So then they show a video of the. What would you star rate the Shotzi and Cardona match? Because it was almost unrateable.
For me, Cardona matches, it's never really like how good is the match going to be. It's more so what's going to happen in it.
Yeah, it's like it's a car crash every time.
Almost. Car crash, tons of run-ins. Like you're going to have guests showing up, whether it's a Swoggle or fucking Jeff Jarrett, who knows? Like he brings people in and does random shit. So, I thought that all things considered, it was very much a replay of Cardona's greatest hits in GCW so far. And I
even
think
to the point where they had remember the video at the start, they showed the Druids, where he came in originally. So this is that was a direct callback to what we just saw in the video, pretty much.
And I liked it for what it was. Like, we have seen some really bad Cardona matches, you and I, from GCW.
Correct.
And I think that he's a character guy first and foremost. This was a good character match. I really liked the Nick Gage return. Like that's the biggest thing that coming out of this first night, really.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And I don't know what the fuck this guy likes about Tommy Invincible. It's always funny he brings him in. Yeah, I'd go like 2.753, so like a 5.5 or a 6.
Yeah. Like the thing is, I don't think it was good as a match, but it was great as a spectacle. That makes sense.
It was a great platform to showcase its returns and angles and all that shit.
Yeah, there was just so much overbooking towards it.
Because you basically did your massive return and debut in the same match.
Yeah, and that's why I said I would have preferred if they had done some kind of angle where Gage came out later to be a real surprise. Because now we're doing like 3 or 4 different things here, and I mean it was still fun to watch. But I wouldn't call it a good match. Like it's one of those things where you can rate it low as a match, but in terms of entertainment value, it's higher. But
I always think of Abdullah Kobayashi versus Kento Miyahara. Like that's the scale I rate this on.
Who was the Kento of this match?
Shotzi.
Makes perfect sense. There. So then we show the video package about Sam and KJ Orso and their issues this year. On there, they hype up Orso going for the title. Like I said, I've enjoyed what I've seen of him. I think he's done a pretty good job since he's dropped the mask. And then we cut to a completely different match. Marcus Mathers versus Drew Parker. The crowd was hyped for this. Like they were like, okay, these are 2 cool guys. We're into them. The crowd felt hot for it. Parker ended up throwing Mathers into a bunch of chairs at ringside. He was trying to wrestle a little bit. They even talked about on commentary about how Mathers is trying to prove himself for the WWE ID thing, which, to be honest with you, Nello, I don't hear anything about it anymore. Like WWE ID, is that dead? Like, did that just like fade away already? Outside of Marcus Mathers, he's the only one left of ID.
They just did their showcase tournament. If I'm not too mistaken, and like Cappuccino Jones and Kylie Ray won it.
That wasn't in a wrestle because I know what you're talking about. That wasn't like months ago.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, they're still rocking, I guess. And Mathers is a part of it, so they brought that up in commentary. I just never hear anything about it, but I think you're right on there. He fired up. They hit a Blue Thunder bomb. They went back and forth. Mathers hit his like Panama Sunrise type of move coming in there, and they ended up going to the floor. Mathers grabbed Parker, hit the tombstone on the cement coming in there, and then Parker fired up in the ring. He dodged a top rope foot stomp. He hit the stunner into a J Driller coming in there. Drew ended up hitting, coming in. Mathers hit his big plancha to the outside. Drew got him in the ring, hit the jumping knee strike, and Parker got the win. What'd you think of the match?
Real good match. Really nice blend of styles. You know, 2 smaller guys with like somewhat high flying, some really good base technical, and just like really well-rounded wrestlers. And I thought that they meshed really well. I always like to see Drew in non-deathmatch situations because I don't think he gets enough credit for the wrestler he is as well. And it's always good to see Marcus, man. He is really good. I still haven't seen much from him in terms of promos and stuff like that, but I think it's just really because the shows that I see him on. But I'm excited to continue watching him and see where his career goes. What about you?
I like him. Obviously, Drew has a great pedigree. He has a great history in deathmatch companies as well. I agree with what you said, that he can also work regular style matches. And this is kind of the direction I would like to see, because you had a little bit of hardcore stuff in this match. They didn't completely abandon his roots, but it was mainly just a very extremely hardworking match. with big bumps, you know, the tombstone on the outside type of stuff. And I think that's a way that it's a really good direction for the company to kind of base themselves around with guys like this who can do all that stuff. And I think Mathers is a really great wrestler too. I really like what I've seen from him. He's a guy that has a lot to him. I still don't know where the ID thing is going to go for him, really. But as long as he's here at GCW and doing indies, always a guy that's like, anytime he's on a card, his match has my attention. I think he's one of the more talented guys on the indies, to be honest with you, in my opinion. We got to a death match again going forward. As I said, the match I hyped up at the start of the show, Dr. Redacted back from suspension, his 1 week suspension. He's taken on Ultramantis Black from the Chikara days here. So you said before you don't really have any history with Black. Really, I always knew of him more as like a character worker in Chikara. Like, he was the guy that was cutting promos. And they did a bunch of stupid comic book geek storylines in Chikara where like there was time traveling and shit like that. And he was always like the top heel of Chikara. Like, anytime there was an evil guy angle, he was somehow the mastermind of it. So now to see him in this modern day incarnation of deathmatch guy is really funny to me, to be honest. But what was your thoughts on this match here? Because we know Dr. Redacted, he's one of the better, one of my personal favorite deathmatch guys. Personally, they went out after each other right away. Redacted hit the light tubes. He threw a chair at Black. They both had a spot where they got down and set it on commentary, which I thought was pretty amusing, to be honest. They were like having a mid-match argument, pretty much. Until Black grabbed the doctor's plate thing and smashed Redacted upside the head with it. That was a really good segment there. He ended up Black ended up hitting like the electric chair drop through the door. They went in there and they were both like incredibly violent. Everybody was bleeding, pretty much. Redacted pulled out a fan and he took the covering off, so the blades came out.
I love when they do these, dude.
Yeah, it was good.
I've seen the real sickos. They take out the fans, but it's like the metal blades, not like the plastic ones.
Yeah,
which is like fucked up. But dude, I get so hyped because you see like the 100-foot extension cord that the Ring Boys have on the outside.
Yeah,
then, like, oh man, love this shit.
No, don't apologize. Fuck yeah, man. Like, this is another thing that kind of, I mean, this was a much safer version. But I remember back in the old days, Wife Beater and seeing CZW pulling out the fucking weed whacker and stuff on there. Yep. So this was just obviously like not as that insane, but still it was cool though. So everybody was bloodied. Black ended up hitting the J Driller onto the fan, which I thought was a great spot there. Redacted ended up pulling out some scissors and he cut one of the... Yeah, because if you don't know Ultramantis Black, like many stupid Chikara gimmicks, he was based on an insect. So his mask has like the mantis shit, like the antennas or whatever. So he cut one of the antennas off his mask. And the crowd like hated this. They were like, "You sick fuck," for that. So you got that. He put Black Mantis on the glass thing, hit the frog splash through the glass, and the fans popped huge, and Redacted got the win here. What'd you think of this?
I haven't seen his match with Tremont, but I thought that this was the best Ultramantis Black match I've seen in a while. Like, he showed up at TOS and he fought, what was it? Yuki Ishikawa. And I was like, okay, like, this is, fine. It was pretty off. Like, I thought that they just did not click well. So I just thought that this was like ultimate Ultramantis Black. This is why I love this guy. He is one of the few Chikara guys where I've gone out of my way to watch his stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I was very impressed by this one.
Yeah, like I said, even in Shikara, he wasn't even like the work guy. Like he was always the guy that was cutting promos and doing crazy angles, and he had the eye of Thor or whatever bullshit they they came up with. Uh, like you look at this guy's career, like he was one of the original guys, like in Shikara. Like he was there even when like Reckless Youth was still training. Like I think he was literally the original Chikara class. He's been at it 23 years, and you look at his cage match, he's got 3 title reigns uh, on there. And one of them is the setup champion, which is barely a title. Like at that point. Besides that, 2 title reigns in his whole career. So yeah, it's cool that he's getting this love and this deathmatch run that he's on now. But I also think
50.
It's the power of 50 years old, this motherfucker. I mean that's the magic of the mask, right?
Dude,
Because
you
would think that. Yeah.
He's like
he's in great shape.
very rarely are deathmatch dudes in shape. And I don't say that disrespectfully. It's it's hard with the recovery that deathmatch requires to also get to the gym. And all that shit. So like it's like dudes like Eric Ryan or Invite, Ultramantis Black, they really stick out because I'm just like, how are you at the gym posting like back pics with like 1,000 cuts on your back? That's just crazy. Next level shit.
No, yeah, I mean he rules. Like I said, I'm not, and again, I am biased against Chikara, but he's awesome. I love the part with the commentary when they were yelling at each other. I thought that was awesome. And it took place and made use of his mic skills, which don't really get to be shown in GCW. I really wish that he had just like got rid of this gimmick like 20 years ago, and I wonder how far he could have gone. But it did. That spot where he cut the thing off was pretty funny. I do have to say, like the
Loved
antenna.
it.
Yeah, this is just fun. Like this is honestly a super fun match. It was violent and gory, but like besides that, it was actually like a really fun match overall.
Oh, also shout out Dr. Redacted. His entrance music is now Firestorm by Earth Crisis, one of the all-time great hardcore opening riffs. Just really good intro music.
Redacted is really good.
He's like a straight edge hardcore guy in real life, I'm pretty sure, because I've seen his tattoos. And so I'm like, yeah, this is a fucking straight edge hardcore theme song right here.
Yeah, like and this motherfucker can work, like in terms of death matches. Like he's always one of the standout guys to me, I do have to say. So really good stuff. I greatly enjoyed that match. It's got a 7 out of 10 on Cage Match, so a lot of the inmates liked it too. What would you say?
I go 7 on this one, 7.5.
Yeah, me too. I liked it. Like I'm probably leaning more 7.5 as well. Then we get to an in-ring segment. Brett's in the ring.
Brett Lauderdale promo. Another Brett Lauderdale promo that Dylan and Nello get to dissect.
Yes.
Thank fucking God.
Yeah, like no matter what, anytime we judge the GCW, somehow he's on the mic. like I don't know why.
To his credit, this time he didn't spend his entire promos. Imagine if he came out again and he was like, if I see any titties or assholes, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Do you think that would have gone over well with this crowd?
It would have gone as well as it did in JCW. He didn't get anything then, and he wouldn't get it now. But I actually did think this promo was like this segment was better because it was less of him and more about what it was set to accomplish. So he's all like, GCW, Homecoming, like this company will never die. But now we need to talk about my brother coming back. And he calls out Nick Gage to the ring, and he's like, "You're home, man. Like you are my brother. For 20 years we've been brothers." I was kind of wondering, is like, are one of these guys gonna beat the shit out of each other by the end of this? Like, because he was really laying it on. Like, yeah, we're best friends, and we've always loved each other, and all this. And like you said, there was rumors of bad blood on the way out, but he was really going over the top here, and. He was like, when you were in jail, I'd come to visit you every week on there. And they were talking about like Janela Spring Break changed the game. GCW went on the road all over the world. he was talking about how streaming came back because of us. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but sure. And he was like, he threw to a video where it showed a bunch of people that had died, which was a really nice touch as well. We even got Jay Briscoe in there. Like Sabu was in there, a couple others. They had a lot of guys there. It was a really well done video. Good video work, and in general, I thought the production was pretty good on the show, I have to say. So he goes on, he's like, you know, they tried to take us out for a decade, and we're still going strong. And then finally, we see the clowns. So they come out. Violent J leads the JCW army of Caleb Conley is right next to him, which I thought was very funny. And I think Too Tough Tony was there as well. And Brett was like,
"Did you say Big Al?
Was she there?
Big Al was there. Oh, I totally missed it. This is Big Al erasure.
I totally missed it. But there were a lot of people there. It wasn't just one or two.
It was all three of their champions.
Okay.
Major.
So I apologize, Big Al. Please forgive me. But
Dude, she was on Power Slap. I did some Googling on her after we watched her in JCW.
What?
So I was like, I really like her as a wrestler. I want to see like what if she's wrestled in other promotions, shit like that. And dude, the first thing I saw was her on Power Slap because apparently Power Slap did a season with a bunch of independent wrestlers, like fucking Facade.
What? Yeah, I know Facade.
And Danny Moe, they were both on it.
What kind of fucked up show was Dana White running?
I don't know, but yeah, Big Al's on Power Slap and she takes some shots.
Did she win?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. You think so? Do you think what would happen if there was like a Power Slap champion in wrestling? Like would that get more
that
over?
Would be their finisher.
Yeah, just a slap. the finisher.
Just a boom, whack, the real WMD, dude.
Yeah, that's what we need right now. So Brett's telling the Violent J, and he's like, "Look, man, we finished that last week, like JCW, GCW stuff." And Violent J was like, 10 years don't mean shit when you like Juggalo's championship. We've been out there for 25 years. Like this should be our weekend we celebrate right now." And then he throws to another video. Which I thought the setup for this was funny. It's like they're having this heated argument. He's like, "Hold on, let me show this video." Right here. And so he throws to a video of the 2-day war that's obviously favored towards, JCW coming through at the end, pretty much. And Brett was like, "Let's do a War Games match right here in October." And then they just left. Brett, what kind of finish was that to this segment? Like, literally, he was like, No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave. And then they all just left.
And dude, you know what? When they came out, I realized, and I don't mean this disrespectfully because I don't think it should be encouraged, but this atmosphere was so pale in comparison to the gathering. I missed like all of the fucking liters of soda getting thrown in the ring and like all the screaming, the Gobblescock Weekly sign. Like there wasn't that animalistic ferocity to the crowd that I think I got spoiled by in that JCW show, really.
Yeah, like I said, they were like a crowd from a bygone era, almost like an ECW crowd for real. And I know GCW is kind of based on, like, they want to be this generation's ECW. But yeah, the Gathering crowd, they were fucking nuts. like way more so than the GCW ones. And I do agree with that. Like you said, I think there's a place for that kind of insanity. I like crazy fans. Like, even as a worker, I'd rather the fans be throwing shit at people and stuff than... Obviously, there's a limit. Like, if it's fucking empty bottles of soda, that's one thing. But, like, obviously there's some limits to it. If it's just garbage and shit like that. But the GCW crowd, yeah, they're more like a modern indie crowd, which is hype in its own way. Like, it's not a bad crowd at all, but it's not to the levels that we saw before there. But yeah, what do you think of this setting up the War Games match with JCW and GCW?
I'm very hyped for it. My head wasn't at War Games yet, but I guess it is creeping up quick. And I'm pretty hyped for,
He said that in the promo.
Yeah, it's like, is it September or October?
October, he said.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm excited. I hope Violent J's in the match, which means that Brett should be in the match.
Yes. Now that would be a new one for me. Brett in the ring. Did Gage even say anything in this promo? It felt like Brett was the one on the mic the whole time.
I don't think Gage said shit until he grabbed the. Oh no! He grabbed the microphone from Brett at one point while Brett was in the middle talking about Gage, and Gage just goes, "Where's my fucking gig at?" And he did an MDK thing, and then he gave the mic back to Brett.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I would have liked to have heard something from him, to be honest, but it's fine. It was cool, whatever. And Brett did fine. Like, I thought his promo here was actually like pretty all right. But yeah, I'm into it. I like that we're continuing the feud between JCW and GCW. I think they've built up a pretty decent little rivalry, and I'd like to see it played out in a crazy ass War Games match on there. We'll see if Brett's in the match or not. That would be pretty funny. Although he did make the challenge, to be fair. So if you're throwing down the gauntlet, I think you should represent yourself.
Yep.
So that led into VNDL 48. The Kogars and Chris Napier, they took on Masha, Joey, and Matt Tremont. So kind of like the legends of GCW, I suppose. Taking on
Masha took this glass bump, and then she flew to fucking wherever NXT was and did Heatwave the next day.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of another time. It is 1000% I'm sure about women's wrestler, but that any other wrestler has ever done an independent death match the night before doing a WWE licensed pay-per-view. I thought that was just a really cool fact. I was like, dude, Masha's just a badass.
Big ups to Masha for doing that. So everybody brawled to start. They were going in there. Thumbtacks were going all over the place. Otis Kogar brought out a bladed Matt Tremont there. They were going just so much crazy shit was happening. Masha ended up hitting a DVD on Napier, and they were going in there. Otis at one point powerbombed Masha, like you said, the glass bump that she took through the glass. And then somebody came out, and who was this? Interfered
I don't know.
The Kogars. So he came out, and then he pulled out
Bobby Beverly.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and so then he came out, and then a masked man came out to counter Beverly. And it turned out that it was Charles Mason. And he ended up taking him out. Atticus flew off the thing, and then Joey just crawled on top of him. So Charles Mason is coming in there to feud with Atticus. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, thank
Another
God.
return. I haven't seen him in a while.
We saw the next night that, because they do an in-ring promo, not to jump ahead, but Atticus and Charles Mason do an in-ring promo with Effie, where Atticus says, I don't want the title. Let's join forces instead of working against each other. You take the title. I got other shit to do, but I need your help. I'm way more into that because I think that Charles Mason needs to learn to become an edgier, better heel. I think that he's like dark MJF to me, where Kogar is a real bastard. Yeah. And I'm hoping that by working with Kogar, he'll get some of that rubbed off on him. This match was fine, though. It was mostly some cool spots. Not much more than that. A big fan. Like, this was a match I feel like very much for the live audience. Like you said, Team GCW Legends versus the Ultimate Heel faction, and you get the big babyface win.
Yeah. So it was nice. I didn't think it was like a great match or anything, but like you said, a fun fan service type of match. with another return with Charles Mason there. So they end up coming in with, like, they show a video of Jordan Oliver and Alec Price winning the JCW tag belts there. So they are now the kings of the tag team on the Indies. And they came in. They're defending the belts against Gringo Loco and Jack Cartwheel, another ID talent on the show here. So they ended up squaring off. They did some like high speed type of stuff early on, particularly with Price and Gringo. They came in. Loco hit his Muda style elbow at one point, then a swanton bomb. He was kind of going all over the place. Cartwheel, he was coming in with his big cartwheel into the knees. Then Jordan Oliver hit the Hurricane Rana. Price flew in with his 720 DDT on Loco. That was wild. And Jack came flying through with his like kick into the like cartwheel DVD that he hit as well. He turned that into a shooting star press at the same time as Loco hit the base bomb there. Price came in and he ended up hitting a dive onto Jack. And then they hit their double team finisher on Gringo to get the win here. So Oliver Price, successful first defense. I don't think the result was much in doubt. But what'd you think of the match?
Great blend of styles. I'm a big Gringo Loco guy. I'm a big Alec Price guy. I think that Jack Cartwheel and Jordan Oliver, guys with bright futures.
Yeah.
You know, they're still figuring out who they are in ring. And I'm pretty sure that Jack Cartwheel is called Jack Summit in WWID as well. Like, they already changed his fucking name, which is funny. They're like, we're not doing that cartwheel shit here, buddy. But yeah, I thought this was a good tag team match. I'd go like 6.5, 7 on this. Just some really fun wrestling, good spots.
The funny thing is that like they announced him as Jack Summit, but he never wrestled as that. They just called him Jack Cartwheel on the show. On there, even though they announced him as Jack Summit on the like Twitter page, but then on the show he was just Cartwheel on Evolve when he was in there. So even he was probably like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be Jack Cartwheel." But yeah, it was good. I did kind of, I thought it was a good match. I wouldn't say it was anything crazy. And again, it was just like we knew who was going to win. And we just wanted the action to be good. They didn't even try to like steal the show or anything like that. They just had a good 13 minutes of action here. So nothing wrong with that. Fan of the tag champs. They deserve to win as well. And yeah, like you said, the other two are very good in their own right. So then they come out with, there's a big box that gets wheeled out. And it's like a clown box. And Emil J on commentary is like, man, what the fuck? Clowns again? And then the Brothers of Funstruction jump out. Caleb Conley's back in the ring. And then the GCW guys come out. And they challenge the JCW crew to a War Games match. And this time, Jay was like, okay, yeah, we'll do the War Games. So, does that mean the Brothers of Funstruction are going to be in the War Games match?
I hope so, dude. I love these little fuckers. I'm big. I'm like, what are their names? Yabo and fucking. I need to learn.
We had this conversation literally yesterday on the other show that we did. But
Yabo and Rappo.
Where's the Outbreak? Like, I want to see them in GC.
Dylan, who cares about the fucking Outbreak? We got the Brothers of Funstruction, dude. They're gonna
clowns.
They wrestle in clown shoes. Do you know how hard that's got to be?
I mean, I don't know. I've never done that, but I presume it's very hard. I wouldn't want it. Yeah, so I mean, you're right. I mean, I will give you that. But have you ever wrestled while you were dead?
Oh no,
that has to be even harder. And the Outbreak do that. So yeah, well, War Games, I like it. I said it earlier, cool beans. So then we're gonna do the death match All-Star Scramble. You've got Lil Sicko, Mr. Danger, you shouted them out earlier. They took on Bam Sullivan, Cyclope, John Wayne Burdock, and Bear Bronson. Coming in there. So they were coming in there. So much stuff happened here. Pretty much. Murdoch dropped Bronson through a glass pane. It was like literally a minute into the match here. Danger and Mr. Sicko ended up coming in with like these like cross the ring drop kicks. Cyclope threw Sicko through some more glass here. More line twos come out early on. Mr. Danger came in with a swanton bomb off the top of a ladder. And that was also through glass as well on Murdoch. Bear came through with a light tube and he smashed it against his own head to fire up. He started just suplexing people. He hit some boss man slams on some people. And then he grabbed Bam Sullivan and lifted his ass up for a pile driver on the light tubes for the win here. Frenetic pace, only 11 minutes, but a lot of shit happened. What'd you think?
Really fun scramble. Deathmatch scrambles are dangerous, dude, because you just got so many moving parts and so much freaking, I don't know, chaos and dangerous things being thrown around. But I thought they put on a hell of a show. Again, like your dudes like Danger and Sicko are getting great spots. They're putting their bodies on the line, their shirts off. I respect the fuck out of it. And Bronson, seriously, great way to make him just look like a monster the night before Tremont's defense.
Yep, it was good business, and a fun match. Again, not a lot to this in my opinion. There was like a lot of crazy spots, but that's all you needed. Afterwards, Austin Luke came out, and he's all like, I wish I had a match on Homecoming. And so then AJ Gray comes out here. His last match in GCW was in 2022 here. So he's like kind of the monster in this scenario. The crowd's chanting "Welcome back" at him. And Gray just beats the fuck out of him. He ends up lariating him, shouts the shit out of him, and then hits another lariat for a win here. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. So AJ Gray back. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, do you know why he left?
And educate us, Nello.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it had to do with some
didn't he send some people some kind of crazy DMs that may not have been
just that, like if I'm not mistaken, it had to do with like it was very much like the speaking out type shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I was saying like if I remember correctly, he sent some crazy DMs to people that may not have been of age. I don't want to speak on this personally because it was years ago, but I that's how I remember it.
Which, like, the way that the GCW locker room is set up now, they're fairly good about not bringing in people whose values don't align with their own. So I'm going to hopefully assume the best that, but I don't really know, but it was very out of nowhere. And I was surprised, honestly, very, very surprised. AJ used to be one of the biggest prospects in GCW. I will never forget this guy fighting a sober John Moxley WrestleMania weekend. And he takes a swig of whiskey from a fan in the audience mid-match and then stops and nearly fucking pukes on himself. And I was like, dude, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing? But then he has banger matches with like Brian Keith, so it balances out. But yeah, this guy, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm kind of mixed feelings, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like I said, I know he had a lot of, even beyond the speaking out thing, he was kind of pissing a lot of people off. To be honest, he was kind of like saying some stuff that wasn't going to win a lot of respect in the locker room, and maybe his head got a little big as well. I know he's been doing the Circle 6 stuff for the last few years on there. I didn't know that was specifically why they got rid of him, though. I just know that he was a GCW guy. That he showed up. He stopped showing up years ago. Again, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea what the plan is or what happened or what. But I know he's a Tennessee guy. Like I said, he came through for a while in this deathmatch scene. He was one of the bigger names for a few years. But like I said, I know that he turned a lot of people off on Twitter, like with how he was behaving. And that was, again, before, like his inappropriate message, allegedly, on that. So, I don't know. But they made him look like a beast here. And the crowds welcomed him. Like that, they did give him a big pop, ultimately.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite entrance themes.
Oh, yeah?
Little Waka Flocka.
Yeah. Not as good as Ari the Rugged Man, in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, he felt like a star here. Like they gave him a good reaction and stuff. Then we had the world title match. Effie defending against KJ Orso. They tried to work a little bit early on. Effie had the advantage. And then when KJ fired up, the crowd reacted. That was one of the bigger reactions for the last few matches. Was when he was on top, they were booing KJ's heel work. Chant "Fuck you, Fuego" at one point here. He hit the butt bump. Effie did, which it was a choice. It was one of those moments where I'm like, "Yep, this is my life now. I'm watching this." Coming in there. So Effie grabbed a chair from the crowd, bashed him with the chair. Then KJ grabbed him. He was going after his knee. Effie threw the chair at him, hit a tornado DDT onto the chair, like the folded up chair, going in there. And it looked like KJ was about to win with a sleeper hold. But then Sam Stackhouse came out. KJ immediately flew at him to do some stuff. And Sam caught him. Him and Effie both took turns beating the crap out of KJ. Until Sam accidentally knocked Effie with the chair. Then a woman, so what they said on the commentary is Sam's wife, got in the ring.
A woman enters the ring.
Yes. So she came out and hit the low blow on KJ. Effie fired up with the famouser from the top for the win. So what did you think here? They kind of concluded they continued the Sam and KJ story, and Effie got the win here.
I really thought KJ was going to win. I kind of thought,
yeah, me too.
I kind of was hoping he was going to win.
Also, me too.
I'm not as big on Charles Mason as world champ, and if it's not going to be Atticus, I think it should be KJ. But if GCW is notorious for one thing, it's not pulling the fucking trigger while someone's hot. So, like, they like long-term champions so much, and not necessarily for me, but I think it was the wrong decision, but a good match.
It was okay. I think the finish was kind of flat, to be honest.
Too much dramatics, like for me, honestly.
I'm not a big fan of Effie. To
the
be
Sam
honest.
stuff is getting pretty repetitive.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this needs to be blown off. Like at some point.
Yep.
So yeah. Moving on from that, though, it led to the main event of the show: Masashi Takeda versus Slade in a death match. What did you think about this being the main event over the title match? Like, Takeda just being Takeda automatically makes him the best guy.
That, and then I also think that just like when we see like on a Big Japan show as well, like the deathmatch title typically main events over the world title, I think too, for like ring setup reasons.
Yeah.
Like I think that could have something to do with it, but I also think that this was the match that I was more hyped for. And here's the thing: if you're not going to, I think that the fact that KJ did not main event should have told you that the title was not changing hands, that there was no big angle or twist planned, right?
Good point. So, so they came in right away. The crowd did feel into this as well. And
Dude, real quick,
yeah.
Slade was not taped up at all. Homeboy went in with no tape on his arms, and I was just very stressed out the whole time. Like the simplest thing you can do for a death match to protect your major arteries, and this guy was just like, "Fuck it." So, on a sick, perverted level, I respect you, Slade.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, you're right. First of all, a lot of crazy shit happened, and I'm still not even sure if Takeda's okay. To be honest, with the eye stuff at the end.
Really good match that was really fucked up by a really awkward final stretch.
Yeah, and it was so short. Like it was like under 10 minutes. Like here,
dude, the amount these guys bled in 10 minutes is unreal.
By the end, like the match at the end, the mat, it felt like everything was covered with glass. But by the end, like the whole fucking thing with the boards, the light tubes, it was like all glass. There was no safe place, pretty much. And sometimes even smashing it on their own head when Takeda would Slade hit the headbutt through the tube on Takeda at one point. Like this
Slade
was
he was doing lariat after lariat on those tubes too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this was not for the faint of heart, I would say. But they went insane with this. They didn't hold back at all. And they were like just going off. Like there was so much blood between these two on top of it. Like both men's bodies were covered. Slade, he had the dark side on his bald head, pretty much. And they were going the scissors too that he broke out, the Takeda. So he brought the full freedom experience here, and they were doing all of this stuff. But like I said, I just wish that it had lasted a little bit longer. Because like for a 10-minute main event, and like I said, Takeda may be injured with the eye stuff, but I mean this was insane. They put everything they had on the line, and again, this probably isn't for everybody. But considering it's a GCW and the main event, they didn't hold back at all. And I thought it was a spectacular death match overall. Like the highlight of the show from that perspective. As much as I love Ultramantis and Redacted.
Yeah, very well said.
So what do you think about night one overall there?
Night one overall, good. I liked the death matches for the most part. I really enjoyed the tag title match. The world title match was a bit of a letdown. I thought the show was a little bit too long, even though it was about like 3.5 hours or so. I was very excited for night two at this point. So the longer that night one went, the more excited I got for night two.
I thought that was the biggest success of night one, is that it made you hype for night two.
Great point.
Overall. Even though I was a little disappointed with the world title match, I thought everything else pretty much delivered. The only thing I would say would be like a quote unquote low point would be the Legends, like death match, just because it went long, and I'm not a big Charles Mason guy, much like you. But everything else was at least fun. You got multiple returns and debuts and a bunch of shit happening. The setup for the War Games. I said it to you last night, before I'd seen night two. I love that back-to-back years. They've set up War Games, and I've been into it. I really was into the Freedoms War Games last year, and this JCW version, I also think has been very well done. Even like the wrestlers might be at the Freedoms level, and I'm gonna miss Rena not being involved, but still, it was good. 7.90 rating on Cage Match. Clearly, a lot of the GCW fans really enjoyed it for night one. So good stuff there. So that leads us to night two. Back once again. They started off with more of a video here, and I thought it was interesting. If you look at the two nights compared to how they did it, I think in hindsight, I'm kind of jumping ahead a bit. I think I would have moved I would have taken off one of the matches from night one, moved it to night two, and given more time to the main event. if I could, because I thought, like, you look at the matches, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches on night 2, and 9 on night 1. So if you had moved one out to even it out, you could have given the main event of night 1 more time, and it could have been something truly amazingly special. What would you rate that, by the way? The Slade and Takeda match? Because I thought that was, like, way up there for me.
Sorry, I was muted. I've gone like 3 3/4 only because I thought the finish was just so.
I know.
It's hard when like that is the climax. That's what I'm going to remember most.
Yeah.
But still a really, really good sprint. And I hope that we get another showdown between the two.
I totally agree with that. I went 4 stars. So a rare death match, I went higher than you. There, I would say. Yeah, I thought it was a great match. Even though I totally agree with you about the finish here. So we got to night 2, and who do we start off with? Masashi Takeda here, coming out, which I thought was like a great choice, actually.
Like, this was a total deathmatch night. Like, I think there was only one non-deathmatch match. I guess that's redundant to say, but only one non-death match. And it was just a scramble. So this was very old school GCW. I was hyped.
Yeah, and I said I thought it was a great spot to bring Takeda out again, since he was just in the main event, pretty much. But if it were me, I will say, like I said, I thought that this night 2 was definitely, I don't want to say watered down, but it didn't feel as big. Like, you didn't have as many angles outside of the big Effie and Mason and Atticus promo. Like, there wasn't as much stuff on here, and it felt like, okay, we got all of the nostalgia shit from the first night, and now we're just gonna have a very violent show, pretty much. So it was Takeda, Drew Parker taking on Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko. Your guys getting the big rub here.
Danger's so sick. That's the motherfucking name.
Yeah, that's right. Coming in there. This is another one where it's another sprint type of match here. I don't know if Takeda was working by the hour or what, but he came in. Whatever injury he had, he didn't give a fuck. He was like, I'm doing it anyway. I thought Sicko and Danger are really exciting to watch. Like I think
they remind me of is like Sick Nick Mondo and your JC Bailey, like your OG deathmatch high flyer guys.
Especially JC, with the size. Yeah, I could totally see that, to be honest. So they came in. This match was a real showcase, I think, for those two, even though it was going to come down to Drew and Takeda.
It's two former BJW and Freedom's World Deathmatch champions versus your two youngest rising stars. This was a total rub match.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that they were smart in how they did it. They gave them plenty of room. They weren't being selfish or anything like that. They wanted to make them look really good. And I thought they successfully did that. It was a really fun opener. I didn't think the crowd was as big into this as I would have wanted them to be. And you kind of mentioned it earlier in the JCW segment, but I actually thought it was really more noticeable on a lot of these matches, especially on night 2. I really wanted this to be an insane atmosphere. Like, I wanted to rally behind the underdogs, but it didn't really come to pass. They were just happy to see the legends like do their thing, and they got a clean win here. What do you think of this is? Yeah.
This is pure assumption, but there's a lot of smoke clouds while you're watching these shows, right? Like, you can always just see there's like the little vape smoke, the little weed pen smoke in the air hovering above the crowd. Now, do you think the difference in atmospheres is because while the GCW crowd is smoking marijuana, the Gathering of the Juggalos crowd was completely just all on cocaine?
Good point. We don't know that. What if they were just on Fago?
Just Fago with Molly in it.
Straight edge juggalos out there.
Yeah, all of the straight edge juggalos at the Gathering, folks. No, I talked about it yesterday during our AEW review, but I tuned into Homecoming right as Takeda put his scissors through Sicko's ear, which really, now that you've seen it, which spot do you think was worse? The Takeda and Sicko spot or the Darby and Moxley spot?
Oh, I would say this one, to be honest. But the Darby one has the advantage of him being tied up while they did it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one he just sticks like a 4-foot scissor through his ear.
Yeah. That's what made it more sick. With all no pun intended.
But no, this was a great match. Like I said, it's Drew and Takeda, two of the all-time greats when it comes to death match, two of this generation's best fucking guys, and they really showed up to not only like with a death match sort of rub, like you're gonna beat the hell out of them too, and these guys took the beating, and they stood back up and they kept fighting. I love the innovation that they bring to these matches. Like the double coast to coast was so sick.
They did it on the first night too. I love that spot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just some really cool stuff by them. There's a videographer, Yashiro, who's homies with like Danger and these guys, and they've got their whole little deathmatch community out in like the southeast, I believe. And man, I really fuck with it. It reminds me of like Baker Boys, like old school skating.
Yeah, that's honestly dude. I thought of that all the way. I kind of think about it like whenever you talk about your buds and your friends that you watch this wrestling with, and all of the GCW people I see online. That's exactly how I think of the community. It's like this is what I was doing 20 years ago. Like this kind of vibe is kind of the same. I don't know how well known this is. I don't even talk about this that much. But I was 20 years ago. It's probably not long enough ago. But when I was like just getting into being a teenager and stuff, I was big in the skateboarding community. Obviously inspired by the game, Tony Hawk and everything. I remember I got a deck for Christmas and it had Pikachu on it. That was my deck, and everyone made fun of me for having like such a kid like skateboard. But I fucking thought it was awesome. Fuck you, overall. But I was big into that kind of scene going on there. Really laid back vibes, really cool shit going on, and like you said, that's kind of what this feels like, kind of like an X Games like type of scene we've got with GCW and these indies right now.
Hell yeah.
So then we went to the showcase match with Alec Price, Jordan Oliver, and Marcus Mathers. Yeah, like my boys all teaming together here. They took on Dustin Walter, Kylon King, and Ichiban. So MLW getting a little bit of a rub here. How much have you seen of these guys before?
0.
Yeah.
0. I guess Miracle Generation are the current Deadlock champs for tag. They're current tag champs. But this is my first time seeing them. They gave me the same vibes as like your buddy, or what is it? Your Bang and Matthews, like your Bang Bros, your To Infinity and Beyond, like very much like your super flippy spot based, like young indie tag team, like super skinny guys, Yeah. I say all of that complimentary. There's definitely a spot for it. But that was definitely their vibe. Like they remind me of like when we're watching Ring of Honor, the first show, they give me vibes like SAT, where they're just going to throw everything at the fucking wall and try their best. And like, not all of it's going to be smooth, but all of it will be inventive.
Ichiban in particular. I mean, like I think I was bigger than him at 10, 10 years old. Like this guy's super small. On there. To Infinity and Beyond, man, those dudes are veterans. Like I said, they're not young at all. I do have to say, but they are small. They're Cheech and Colin Delaney. But they've been good. Like anytime I've seen them on GCW, they were good as well. So this match, I did have to say, I thought it was pretty like. It wasn't that great overall. Like I thought it was good enough. I thought Mathers looked good as always. The Miracle ones, I thought they, like you said, they just come across like a really indie team. I'd like to see where they're at 3 years from now, because there were some sloppy moments here. Maybe this is something where they felt fired up to be on such a major show. But they were facing big names, like all of these guys. Jordan Oliver has been one of the biggest names for years. Price and Mathers have gotten a lot of respect over the past couple of years. Maybe the Miracle ones were a little nervous in the scene.
I could totally see that as well, because there definitely were some nerves and just on some spots. But these guys, the Miracle Generation, these three remind me of the three they're facing 2 years ago.
Yeah, see, exactly. Like, I want to see these guys in 2 or 3 years, and we might be cooking with them. But like you said, they are getting a push in Deadlock, and Ichiban was one of the more popular guys in the MLW. So, good luck to him. I didn't think this match was really. It didn't do it for me. I do have to say, here, but it was okay. Like, it wasn't bad either. We move on to the death match between Doctor Redacted and Mance Warner. I thought this was going in a direction that I really liked, and that there was a lot of great shit. Like, well, great as in extremely violent shit happening in this match. And then I think they went a little too far because I think Redacted's arm on the glass thing, like, it ended up getting torn apart pretty much, and I felt like they had to rush.
What
Like,
was that spot that like fucked up his arm at the end? What were they doing exactly?
I think they was trying to do some kind of move through the glass. It was either, was it the fucking light tube or the glass board? But it was something with the glass, and I guess somehow it fucked up. But I mean, like you, I mean, I didn't think it was anything as crazy, like that crazy.
No, and dude,
but what? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Please continue.
You go on. You are the deathmatch guy. You have first thoughts on this show.
I respect Mance a lot for how he saved this situation. Yeah. He didn't freak out. He didn't break character. He very subtly took off an elbow pad and just dropped it to Redacted so he could wrap it on the wound, and then he kept kicking his ass. I thought it was very fluid, veteran move. He's looking out for the guy. He knows he needs to get to the finish now. I thought it was so goddamn funny that Redacted still kicked out after this.
Yeah, me too. I was like, dude, you're a fucking carny motherfucker. And I love you. I love you, man.
I love it. He's like, no, I'm going to get to the real finish still. And right after the match, everyone's yelling, towel, towel, towel. And I'm still always astounded by how long it takes for these things to get to the ring. Like, these things should be on hand right there. Like, you know, they show the clip of John Wayne Murdoch getting set on fire where literally no one has a fucking fire extinguisher. I was just going to bring that up. These guys are putting their lives on the line for you. The least you can do is be fucking prepared, man. Not just have it in the back. Like, be ringside with the stuff too, you know? But this was sick. Mance is one of my favorite deathmatch guys, and he just doesn't do it that much anymore. But he's one of those dudes where he is really good at that sicko style. Like, I'll staple my fucking tongue to a door. I'll stick things through my cheek. Like, he's very good at the sort of grotesquerie stuff.
Well, I mean, and he has been doing the TNA stuff for a little while now.
Yep.
As well. So I wonder if that kind of limits him in some way. Yeah, I know. Mance Warner's awesome. Like, there's no doubt, and I just spoke about on the last show that Redacted is one of my favorite deathmatch guys. So I was super into this. The finish, what you bringing that up was awesome. I totally agree with what you were saying about, dude, why did this take so fucking long to help this guy out? Was Brett on commentary for night 2? I don't think he was.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, because he was on night 1.
Yeah, the only time I've heard Brett on commentary is like Gathering, and then like very rarely other than that. Maybe like a Wombat show or something.
Yeah, but I heard him on night 1. I know I'm not making this up. Because he was the one that popped when Gage ran out in the opener, remember? On commentary.
Maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, he wasn't out there. I was thinking about that, like, maybe you would have noticed that. But overall, I still liked it. It was still really good. I don't think it was as good as the main event. It wasn't even intended to be, but I still thought it was pretty kick-ass for what they did. So from there, was the Effie thing after this next match or before it?
Effie, there wasn't an Effie match. This is the promo, right?
No, the promo. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I believe the promo was after the scramble.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that we go into the tag match. Yeah, you're right. It was probably later in the show. Yeah, you're totally right. So then we have Napier and Otis Kogar. They take on Gringo Loco and Jack Cartwheel. This is another one. It felt like, I mean, there was no serious injury like the last match, but I thought that this match had like a very like rushed finish to it here. Only 8 minutes, another kind of sprinty match. I thought it was decent enough. I thought Napier had some pretty good like chemistry with Loco and Cartwheel. Otis, I didn't think was at his best. Like he needs to be doing brawl shit, like not doing Gringo Loco matches. But I thought they worked when Napier was in. I thought he worked pretty well with the other two. What'd you think of this match?
Otis is at his best in a fucking, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but a blunt head trauma match. Blunt force trauma.
Yeah,
like he is the best at hitting people in the head, man. That's what I want to see Otis do.
I totally agree.
This was a throwaway match. I didn't think anything much of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get through this show real quick because we have taken a little bit of time here. So I want. Okay, cool. As long as you're cool, then I'm cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But ultimately, that match was, like you said, totally a throwaway match anyway. Then we get to the death match here. And again, this is where I noticed, I was like, man, I really wish that there had been more, like a return or something. Because the first night had all of that stuff in, like, the first match. And then night 2, it's just like, well, we're just going to do our thing. Pretty much here. And until they set things up afterwards. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, then we get to the death match with John Wayne Murdoch and Cyclope. This was another one where they weren't going to do a lot of time, so they wanted to do a lot of stuff in it. A bunch of moves through the light tubes. You had, you had the big destroyer from Murdoch through the glass, which looked great. The crowd was into it, but I think Cyclope is a guy that we've seen him have off the wall crazy matches, and Murdoch as well. Like you just mentioned it, like 2 weeks ago, he got set on fire. At the end of the day, but we've really seen him and Miedo Extremo do some insane shit. And I thought this was kind of like another, I hate to say it, but like a throwaway type of match here. I don't think this death match was as good as the Warner Redacted match, and especially not the main event overall. And so I think they were in a tough spot. There were no real stakes to it, but they still went hard. They worked hard, but I don't think it was a great match. This was like a 3-star match to me. What did you think?
Yeah, the worst spot in the match to me was Murdoch taking him out with a fucking top rope deep south destroyer, and Cyclope kicks out before there's even a 1. Yeah, it felt like like you said, no real stakes. It looked great though. Very exciting on paper, just to have these two guys fighting is very exciting. But yeah, I totally agree. I'd go like maybe 5 on this. I'd go even lower.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was I thought they worked hard. Good point about the kickoff. I think I have to knock a quarter star. I'm going back to 5 too instead of 6 now. I thought it looked good though. Like the destroyer looked insane, and then he, like you said, he just kind of basically no sells it, and for no greater purpose. Like it wasn't even badass. It was just like, okay, we need to rush towards the end of this match. Type of no sell here, coming in there. That led to the scramble, and it was the opposite of the last night, which had a deathmatch scramble. This was a normal match scramble coming in there. And it was a big showcase for Janela here, trying to get him up there. He faced off with Austin Luke. We saw him on night 1 get squashed. They took on, they didn't take on, but he was there. Grayson Pierce, Griffin McCoy, Ryan O'Neal, and Teriyaki, Noah's Own, back at it again here. Everybody kind of got their spotlight. I thought Teriyaki was the best one, actually, of the match.
Agreed.
He was doing some really cool flying stuff, but nobody really got a lot of time. It's like they all got their moment here, and then Janela kind of took over the end. But, I mean, these guys, Griffin McCoy is a guy we've seen in the past. I think he's looked pretty good. Austin Luke, I think Luke has a good look to him. He didn't get to do a lot in this match, but I liked what I liked what I saw of him. I wish that I could see him in a real match, because we saw him get his ass beat on night 1. And here, not only did he get his ass beat again, but he was like the 5th most spotlighted guy in a 6-man match. But I think there's something there with him. Pierce didn't get to do a lot. O'Neal didn't get to do a lot. But I liked what I saw of these guys. It was just really short. And then Janela just won. And it was kind of like a mismatch. Like, nobody gained anything from this. I feel like it was just kind of a waste of time. I hate to say it. What did you think?
Yeah, like GCW scrambles do not hit as hard as they used to. Their scramble match used to be a real attraction. You know, you'd have guys like a Jungle Boy and Shane Mercer and all sorts of freaks, KTB just popping up in these things.
Yep.
Nowadays it's just not really the same talent or like excitement around them, because it used to be like, hey, here's the future of the industry, and now it's more so like, here are the guys that we just didn't have another spot for on the show.
But I think that could have worked if Janela wasn't in this match. Like, because all the other guys are kind of like basically starting from the ground. What happened to Brandon Toon? Like I said,
oh my god.
Yeah, replace Janela with Toon and let 6 guys go balls to the wall for 10 minutes. And I think you would have had an interesting winner at least. With Janela, it's like, well, you knew he was going to win, and he didn't even gain anything from it. Like, yeah, it wasn't my favorite overall. I also think it's kind of bad booking to do this kind of match after the deathmatch scramble that we saw on night 1. Like, that we liked that match. Like, and it was really well done. It put over the challenger. I get that you wanted to put Bronson over leading into his title shot. But I just don't think it hit to go backwards. You know, like the regular scramble should have led to the deathmatch, not the other way around. At least in my opinion. So then we go to the big angle with Effie coming out. And, excuse me. He came out after his defense from the night prior. He was talking about how much GCW means to him and how he'll defend the title with his life. Mason comes out. And like you kind of said earlier, this all led to Mason and Kogar basically doing kind of an angle to align almost. But it didn't really work overall here. What did you think of this and where they're going with the belt overall with Effie? Because I think I would have liked it better. Wouldn't this have made sense if Alley Cat had like ran out to side with Effie, like to face the other two off?
Yeah, but is she okay?
Well, I guess that's a good point. I have wrestler brain. Everybody can wrestle. Everyone's okay in my mind. But what you said is much better, I would say. But what did you think of what they set up here? Because to me, it just felt like another one that, like, they had something and then it just never really went anywhere substantial.
Yeah, I'm not like particularly excited for it.
And I'm not even, and like you said, I'm just not a big fan of Charles Mason.
Yes.
Do you think that this uniting, like, Kogar can kind of like bring the next level out of him?
I mean, like I said before, there's like earlier when we were talking about it, like that's definitely my hope, is that Kogar rubs off on Mason and Mason's able to really unlock this next level.
Yeah. Well, I do hope so. At the end of the day, because like I said, I wasn't really feeling this, and again, I'm not even a fan of Effie, so I don't really have that much of a rooting interest. Maybe they'll figure out some way to put the title on Atticus and make me interested in this belt again. Maybe Atticus can betray Mason and like show him what a real psycho looks like. But anyway, we move on to the main event, the ultra-violent title death match. They hyped up Bear the night before, and now he gets a shot versus Matt Tremont coming in there. This has an 8.33 rating on Cage Match. This is the only match of night 2 that has ratings. There were some 10s, there were some 9s. This was the one match on these two shows that in my opinion, like fully stuck what they wanted. Even though I really liked the main event from night 1, I think this was the one match on the two shows that they went all out. They had time. That wasn't another 10-minute bullshit match like we've seen on so often on these two shows. they said, look, this is our big match. Like, they made that loud and clear that Tremont is the top champion of the company. And they were setting up Bronson. I think that he wrestled with so much fucking heart in this match.
You talking about
like,
Tremont or Bronson or both?
Both. Yeah, but I was particularly talking about Bear, but in reality, both. On there. I thought Bronson wrestled with so much fucking heart in this match. Like, he had no problem doing this. He came in, and the power moves that Bronson was adding in, you can't convince me that Tremont didn't have broken ribs at the end of this match. The stuff that they were doing, he was bleeding. He was just covered in blood once again. That is one thing you have to say. The message of both nights was loud and clear. If you tune into a GCW show, you're going to watch some motherfuckers bleed. I hear. They came in there. They fired up. They left it all in the ring. And then at the end, they had Tremont cut the promo with them sitting together. It was like a new brotherhood formed with these two. I thought this was pretty fucking great. I do have to say. What did you think here?
So this, like, have you been watching UFC at all?
Not lately, though.
So, Kamzat and Drickus just fought. And for those who don't know, Kamzat is this undefeated fucking Chechnyan monster who is just like, he basically is just like, I'm gonna smash, and he just smashes people. This guy is insane. And he's fighting Drickus, who is apparently, also like going to be his biggest challenge. Turns out to be a big wet fart of a fight. I mean, Kamzat completely dominates, but Drickus has absolutely nothing to answer him. I was really let down. This had the same super fight feeling. I watched this match 3 times since it aired last night.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, are you telling me this let you down? Because I was about to say, wait a minute.
No. This had a big match feel. This felt bigger than a UFC numbered main event to me. And I thought that they hit higher highs than they did. This is deathmatch at the highest level. My favorites this year have been the Kasai Takeda Desperado triple threat, the Kasai Desperado singles, and then the Yusaku Ito versus Toru Sugiura King of Freedoms match from a couple months ago. This is up there. Like, I would put this in my top 10 of the year. I would go 4 3/4 on this. I am a deathmatch fan in my heart. I bleed. My heart is bleeding for deathmatch. And like, this reminded me of, like, it had the emotion of like Swerve versus Danielson, it all in, because like Bear Bronson is a guy, we talked about, I think recently, maybe yesterday or sometime, but like, he's a guy who really got put in a shitty situation. His long-term tag team partner turns out to be a real piece of shit, gets released. Now Bronson is pretty much stuck without anything to do in AEW. His contract doesn't get renewed, so he comes out to the indies, takes a chance on himself, and enters probably the hardest, like, niche of wrestling that you possibly could, which is deathmatch. And he opened up like Cage of Survival in June, and now at the end of August, he's already headlining their biggest show of the year besides the spring break. So this dude, it was about his career and his career resurgence, his rebirth as a deathmatch wrestler, and him proving to himself that he belongs in deathmatch. And then you have that mixed with Matt Tremont, the Bryan Danielson, and really a fucking deathmatch wrestling. This guy's emotions and abilities. And, he's not technical like Danielson, but to me, a deathmatch wrestler is technical in the sense of, I'll take gussets. I'll get hit by a plugged in fucking light tube. Yeah, I'll get dropped into piranhas. Like, Matt Sanaga is a technical deathmatch wrestler in the sense where any gimmick, any stipulation they're down for, they're willing to do it. They will meet you on the playing field. They will try to better you. And man, Tremont screaming, you're a killer, but I'm a fucking survivor. Are you a survivor? Like, dude, have me on the verge of tears. That is art at the highest level. Like, this match had everything for me. The chair shots to the head with the gussets were just brutal. Tremont going to pull the gusset plate out of his head after, and he literally cannot pull it out. It is embedded so deep. The pissing contest where Bear just starts breaking light tubes over his head, which leads Tremont to as well. Like, just so many great spots. The scaffold finish was unreal.
That was
The
nuts.
DVD to the outside, or not the DVD. It's what Omega does, where it's like they have them in a fireman's carry and they front flip and slam
Yeah.
them like that. What is that called?
The Ford fireman's carry roll.
Okay. Yeah, he does that to Tremont, and they go between the tables and land flat on the pavement. The tables do not break the fall. Like, these guys gave everything. Tremont brought the straps down for it. I respect that. I love it. Like, when these guys take off their shirt out of a sign of respect to, like, I will, meet you on your terms again. Like, this was everything as a death match. I thought that this was incredible. And yes, I absolutely think Bear Bronson should have won, but he also was made into a star tonight. And if the story from here to the end is that he is the person to dethrone Tremont, then I think they're on the right path.
Yeah, I agree, because I totally agree with that. That was kind of the one flaw I had with it, is that this felt like it was Bear's night. Like, crown a new champion, start a new era, especially after the semi-main event angle. They did the stuff with Effie and Mason, and even, like, Via DL and stuff, and Bobby Beverly and whatnot. Like, you had all these people in there, it just felt like a mismatch and not that great. I would have liked to have seen a new chapter, like that being the ending of this show. But for all in all, though, Tremont has been kind of the hero of death matches in this entire country for quite a while now. Giving him the moment and giving him the spot, you could have a worse finish to the weekend than that, But yeah, this was fucking awesome. Definitely the match of the two shows. Like, the best match on the shows was the main event of night 2, in my opinion. Man, Bear Bronson, like, what a career resurgence and a feel good story on top of it, as you laid out on the Forbidden Door review. What would you say? What score would you give night 2 overall?
Give night 2 like an 8. I give night 1 a 7, night 2 an 8. I had a lot of fun with these shows.
I personally,
Sorry, I was going to say, like, I went straight from Forbidden Door right into Homecoming night 2, and at no point was I fatigued. And I think that's a testament to the show itself.
I personally thought the best match was the main event of night 2. My problem is that as a show, I thought night 1 felt a lot bigger. Like, you had all of this stuff going on, the returns and the surprises and stuff. In night 2, there weren't any surprises, and there weren't even any angles, really. Besides the Effie thing, you had a promo where KJ challenged Sam to a cage match, which we'll probably see next month, to blow off the feud like we called for on night 1. But there just wasn't a lot happening, and a lot of the matches on night 2, I don't think delivered in comparison to night 1, outside of the main event, which was incredible. Like, the 3-on-3 match, the tag, and even the John Wayne, Murdoch, and Cyclope, and then the 6-way scramble. That's 4 out of 7 matches that I don't think were anything at all to write home about. And Warner and Redacted was awesome, but I thought it could have been even greater if they were able to get through it without the sick injury that Redacted had. The opener was very fun and good, and the main event was, like, fucking incredible. So, it was a really 50-50 show, whereas night 1 I thought was more consistent, and you had all the surprises and the angles and stuff like that. So, I think that night 1 was a little better. I would give night 2 a 6, maybe, and night 1 a 7. Like 7.5 even. Like, I would give it that. I really enjoyed night 1. And night 2, it worked out with the main event, even though I didn't think the show itself was that great. But I thought the main event was awesome. And I really enjoyed watching the shows, man. I like the storylines they set up. Again, they've got me for War Games for another year. And we'll see what they do going forward. But I thought overall, no doubt, whatever issues you may have had on night 1 and 2, I think you cannot look at these shows and not say, damn, Homecoming weekend in 2025 was a big success for Brett and the whole company.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's about it for tonight's show. As always, I always want to try to give you the last word, especially this is kind of like your own Homecoming. This is kind of your zone in GCW. You've got me into it. I definitely feel like I'm much more of an American fan in terms of the indies once again, thanks to you directly. But what have you got to say to the people out there before we get on out of here?
Ooh, I would say really go out of your way to watch Bear Bronson versus Matt Tremont. If you're a fan of that style, you need to see this match. Yeah, big ups to him. Hell of a thing they did.
Fuck yeah. Highly agree with that. Tremendous match. Cannot wait to see what the future holds for Bear. But the future for us is looking brighter than ever. We got some Ring of Honor coming up next weekend. We got some cool shit in the can for the future. We got some big stuff planned, so it's going to be a lot of fun times for the Wrestle Update, the Woo crew going forward, moving ahead strong. Obviously, really appreciate all you guys out there for listening, checking us out, having a good time with us. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the show. Let us know what you thought of GCW. Please check out the main event, like he said, on night 2. And even night 1, I personally really enjoyed a lot, too. Yeah, so that was really great. Check out the shows. Have some fun. Watch the wrestling you love. And, as always, keep your eyes and ears open for us. Because no matter what happens, you know I love you. And until next time, this has been your Wrestle Update.